Hi, my name is Four, and welcome to the Love in Focus, the podcast for mums where we explore, discover, build community with our only child. Let's get going. Okay, you know what I mean. Let's start with the program. Oh my goodness. Hi, and welcome to Love in Focus. Yes, my name is Four, like the number four, but spelled Foa. And today I wanted to talk about um just interesting conversations about when you are talking to people with multiple children. Now, I have a lot of friends and family who have multiple children, but sometimes the conversations that you might have with a coworker, a neighbor, or even it could be a family member or a friend, and it just like, huh? So I remember I was at work and I was having a conversation with a coworker, and this person has four children. And this person goes, "How many children do you have?" And I was like, "Oh, just one. I have an only child." And this person said, "Oh, only children. Wow. Okay." And then he said the weirdest thing. He said, only children, they don't know how to interact with other children. And then he goes, and they're quiet, they have, and academically, they always get straight A's, and they're always shy, and they always stand backish, like they're not one to leap in and just play with other children. And I'm looking at this person and I'm like, huh? Because that is not my experience with my only child. And as I was listening to him, I was wondering, like, I wonder why he is, because of his own experience with an only child, why is like he must feel, because he keeps saying, "Oh, all only children act this way." And then I asked him, so once he finished, saying all these things, because he was comparing it to his own children, which is natural, right? I asked him and I said, "Oh, why do you say that? Why do you say, families with an only child, their child is always shy? Or why do you say that an only child and families with an only child, why are they always do not know how to make friends? They do not." Because I was just repeating what he was saying, and he said this. He goes, "Well, because I have four children, they're very outgoing. They're very, I think he said they're extroverts." And he said, "And our next door neighbor is an only child. So when that child sees my children," he said, "they're very quiet, and he feels like maybe because of their personalities that they that the only child is like, who are these children?" And I said, well, that my response to him was, "That's interesting, because that is not my experience. And there's many children, many families with an only child that would not relate to what you're saying. I mean, they know of children who may be shy, but in some ways it's all relative, because if you put us in different situations. Like me, I'm an extrovert, but if you were to put me on a stage and tell me to sing, I'm going to be shy, and I'm going to be out of tune, and I'm going to be many things. And I'm going to be praying that the microphone is not on and everyone else is either eating or there's no one in the room. So and after talking to him, he was like, "Oh, okay, maybe it's just that child." But then I was asking more about his experience with other families with an only child. And So it was interesting that because of that one experience with his neighbor, the child, right, and only child, that neighbor, that he would categorize all children, all families with an only child. And so it made me think, like, that is okay. I wonder how many other things, like, for example, families with multiple children. I could say, well, families with multiple children, your house is chaos. It's like a zoo. And hello, I know many families who have multiple children, and it is not a zoo. Now, they might say, well, depending what day you come in, depending what day you come to my house. But are all families in a way sometimes, it's busy? I mean, I just use the word zoo. So it's interesting to hear when you have conversations and people that have multiple children, and then they say the funniest things or the silliest things about families with an only child. And you do not have to accept it. So when someone says something like, oh, they don't know how to make friends, I'm like, well, why do you say that? And I learned that from my sister. Like, when they say something, why do you? Because I want to know, why do you say that? What is your perspective? And what's your experience? And it's interesting to hear, why would they think that an only child? Now, maybe you may be listening, Mum, and you may be like, well, my child doesn't know how to, they don't interact with other children as much. Well, then maybe that is something you can help them with. So for me, I have always taught with Olivia, and I'm still teaching her, darling, if you want to have a friend, you got to be a friend. One, be a friend to yourself. Be kind to yourself. Give yourself a break. Have fun, and say encouraging words to yourself. Because if you're a good friend to yourself, right, and you like yourself and you appreciate the goodness that's in you, the love of God that's in you, well, you're going to appreciate other people as well. And so those are just the basic practical tips. And then mums, I always encourage mums to help your friend, your child, your only child, to make friends. Now, maybe your child really gets on well with another child, but you don't get on well with the parent. Well, once again, it'll be good. Just instead of spending 2 hours, like, you say, well, honestly, I can't do 2 hours with that family because that mum and we don't gel as well, which is okay. Not everybody gels, not everybody can get it, like, I don't know what else to say. We've been together, like, at the park for 10 minutes, and we've pretty much talked about everything. And then some others, like some other mums, you just really connect and the conversation flows easily. Well, whatever you can do, sometimes you're going to be friends with them. You're just going to get on with it because you are helping right now for your child to connect with their little buddy, with their buddy. And then eventually you're going to have some time, mum, where you're going to get on well with the other parent, that mum, but their only child and your only child just doesn't get on well. So it's a vice versa. And it's okay. It got in its right place. It's fine. Like some of my friends, Olivia, with their children, she's like, I like them, but I can tell she really connects with other families when I'm with the mom and some others. So I just limit the time so we're both having a good time. Otherwise, if I keep going with that one family and she doesn't get on the children, and and the children don't get well with them, they're not playing, you know, they're okay. But she's like, ugh, I get it. And so when you have those conversations too, things pop up. I mean, I'm sure I've said some silly things about multiple children, like, um, I don't know, maybe there's something out there. Maybe someone is, already doing a podcast, and they have multiple children, and then they say my name. Well, Four said this, blah, 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 about families with multiple children. Well, I apologize. I can't remember what I said, but I'm learning too. And so that's what I wanted to share with you is it's okay. I just smile it off. I'm like, that's just weird. But don't get in a big tiffy. And a tiffy means all in a huff and a puff and defend yourself. It's like, oh yeah, okay, that's just your experience, but it's not mine, you know. And then explain it. I mean, if they're wanting to listen, because maybe you're like, no, that's not true. You know, but the way I said it to him, he was like, huh, really? I said, yeah, my daughter loves to interact with people. She's very sociable. And I have nieces and nephew that are an only child. And they they love interacting with people. They're very sociable and families love them and their cousins. I mean, them having friends, they have really good friends. And yes, are they very intelligent? Yes, they are. Or my nieces and nephew. And so I think it's just when you take the time to listen, but if it's not your experience, just shake it off. Is it like Taylor Swift? And if you don't know, like, who's Taylor Swift? Just like dust it off. Like, that, because there might be a mom listening, and maybe he described a child, and that's okay. You know, it's not a negative thing for him. He just didn't understand because he doesn't have an only child. Him and his wife have 4 children. And so it's just a different way of looking at things. And so that's what I wanted to talk about. So maybe you have conversations with your coworkers or your neighbor or just friends and family. And for example, right? So Olivia is 7. My only child is 7 years old. Well, my conversation, if she was 2 years old, with her being an only child, would be so different. If I started this podcast at 2, what my experience is when she was 2 is totally different from what I'm experiencing. A mom with an only child at 7. And now that I'm working part time, and because I'm an older mom, well, who am I comparing myself to? I'm 48. So if I was comparing myself to a mom who's like 90, I'm really young. But if I'm comparing myself to a mom with an only child in their 20s, yeah, I could be a little bit older. So for me, it's all relative. It's just taking your life experience and just sharing it where you're at. But when I compare myself at different seasons. And another thing as well, I wanted to share about, isn't it fun when you learn about your child and they really have comebacks? Like, seriously, I was in the car and we were traveling back from Olivia's horse camp. And I was just listening to my husband and daughter talk. And I realized that how much they bond with their conversations and they kind of miss me out. And then they started making fun about me. They're like, what does mommy like? She likes to nap. And then the nap goes, oh, what is she like? She's like a hobbit. Now, if you haven't seen Lord of the Rings, the characters, the hobbits, they love to eat. And I think in the movie, like they have, when they're journeying, when they're going on their long journey, they always have like food with them. So my family likes to call me a hobbit. And I'm like, hey, my hobbit my Hobbit food provides you with snacks when you are hungry. And no, I don't have like flat feet and they're not hairy. I actually have nice arch feet. But if my feet were flat, I would say they were nice. So either way, it's all relative. So my husband and daughter, they were just having a giggle to the point when I was like, hey, wait a minute. What you're saying now, I'm not laughing. And then they stopped laughing after I started like huffing and puffing, like, hey, and then I started breaking down my schedule from the time I wake up to the time I go and sleep, starting listing all the things. And then my husband, he goes, okay, we better stop because now we're taking it too far because mummy, he could tell by the tone of my voice, I was not having it. And then I said, I am not in the mood to be made fun of, even though any other day would be okay. Today, mummy is not to be made fun of. And they're like, okay. But Olivia was hilarious because she was like, she kind of kept going for a few more minutes. And then her father said, okay, we need to stop. That's you're just crossing the barrier because mummy said stop. So, mom, if there are days also where your husband and your only child that you love and encourage are just making fun of you, or not even fun, they're taking, you know, they started saying funny things and then for some reason they just keep on going and going and going. And now you're not laughing. It is okay to tell them enough is enough because when I say that's enough, that means my feelings are going to be hurt. And you both need to remember the lovely work I do. And it's okay to remind them. So, yes, I was reminding them of all the work, the laundry, the dishes, the loving care, the encouragement, getting them up in the mornings. And as I was saying it, I was like, I am a wonderful mom. I'm the best wife. I am doing the best I can with the time that's given. And I'm also a wonderful friend. I'm a good friend to myself as best as I can, and I'm a good friend to others. And I wanted to remind you that you, mom, you're working part time. Like for those who are working part time, just like me, you, and especially if you're enjoying it, or if you're not, I hope you do find something that you enjoy. Remember to take time for yourself in some way that you just have time to breathe. I mean, you are coming home, you're either cleaning the house, getting dinner ready, you're go, 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 and did you even have a shower today? Could you have a shower? Did you brush your teeth? Did you comb your hair? I mean, I don't know. Are you wearing the same t-shirt you've worn for the last 5 days? I don't know. But the fact is, you are doing the best you can with the time that's given. And I wanted you to know maybe no one is saying anything to you. Maybe you walk around the house and, like, even at work, well, even if you're not getting recognized at work, no one is saying thank you. I listen to me today and I am saying that you are an awesome mama and you're also contributing to the community and you're doing a great job at work. Now, and when I mean great job, meaning you showed up, you're doing your best, and you know what? What I learned from work is that and here's a tip, my coworkers and even my husband, he says, don't if you work, so I only work part-time, right? So part-time is 20 hours per week. Now in the past 4 has already, like if it's 20 hours a week, I'll do, for example, 80 hours a week or something like that. Work overtime and not get paid. Even in my other jobs, I would always like burn the midnight candle. Is it the midnight candle? Burn something. That's a figure of speech. Me, you're just going to keep going, go, go, go. You know, and I was like, man, that is just, yeah, there's a time and season, but I didn't want to do that during this season. Why? Because the more I wasn't focusing and I wasn't saying yes to things that I really wanted to say yes to. And I understand there's seasons where you're going to work for whatever reason, you're going to focus more hours on something. But with me and my part time, I wanted to really just prioritize with what is I can accomplish within the hours that I am getting paid for. And I have a friend, and she said, okay, and my husband, he always has said this too. He goes, write down goals that is aligned with your job, right? So whatever organization you are working for, write down 3 goals, and then make sure that they're practical. So it's something that your boss would agree, because you don't want to write something and then your company or your boss, or maybe you're the boss, it doesn't align with where you're going with your work, with your organization. And when I started looking really at my goals, what I wanted to achieve within the year, so with meetings come on or courses or things like that, does it align with what I need to, what I'm wanting to achieve throughout the year? If it doesn't align with it, I'm not going to focus on it, because it's not going to contribute to what needs to be achieved, what I need to learn, what I'm wanting to pursue to help my the position that I'm in. And that has really helped me to have a clearer awareness, aware of my time where I need to be at work. And I felt like a wonderful release. And it took me like since October. So it's taking me some time, and it's June now. So the last 2 months, I really like, you know what, this doesn't align with what I'm wanting to achieve. I'm not going to take that on, and I'm just going to, it's not a top priority. And so when it has really helped me as a part-time mom, as a part-time worker, to get things done at work. And then I just clock off. I don't work overtime, because I don't get paid for overtime. Um, and that way, when I come home, I don't check my emails. I mean, okay, once in a while I will, but I would, oh my goodness, I just went like the past four in the past used to just try and get everything done within, like, oh my goodness, within a week or always. And there's always something to be done, right? If you're working, and depending what your job is, like, it's you got to be, if you miss a day, the next day there's always something, you're always something. And so I learned that, and it has helped me. So maybe that's another tip for you as a part-time. If you don't have any goals, I would recommend 1 or 3 goals that you're wanting to accomplish in your job that is aligned with your organization, aligned with your, you know, with what your boss is wanting you to achieve. And you ask, for your position, what's going to help you the following year. And that way, it's not going to be too stressful in such a way too overwhelming, because you have your clear goals. And so for me, I'm able to like relax more. And so, but as me with an only child, I just want to encourage you, Mom, once again. Thank you for listening. Because this is love and focus. And the reason why I pick love and focus is because we are loving to our families, we're loving to ourselves, and because God loves us. When He loves us so much, we have His love in and around and outside of us as well. And so I wanted you to just take that time to appreciate, what you also bring as, a woman, as a mama, and as a wife, to your family, to the community, and also to your workplace. So this is Love and Focus, building a community and only, oh my gosh, you would think I would get this right. It's Love and Focus, building community with an only child. So this is 4. Thank you. And please leave feedbacks on my on the podcast. There's a fan page. If you want to ask me a question and maybe you heard something or you just want to get to know me, reach out to me and I would definitely reach out back to you. That sounds like an Australian thing. Reach out back. Or did that make sense? Okay. Take care and I'll see you in the next episode.